Hi everybody, I'm Dr. John Douillard and welcome to LifeSpa.com. We pour the ancient medical wisdom of Ayurveda with modern science. And today I want to talk about the 4 major extinction events that are actually happening now as we speak. You know, when they look at the research, 99% of all the animals on the planet that ever existed are now extinct, right? One study said in the next 300 years, 3/4 of the animals that we see today on the planet will be extinct. Extinction is a thing. I want to talk about the 4 extinction events that are happening right now insidiously in our culture that most folks aren't talking about. So stay with me. Now, if you're watching this video on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. And please make sure you turn on notifications so you get alerts when I upload a new video. If you're watching this video on my website at LifeSpa.com, please read the article associated with this video. I got lots of science linked to this article so you can really dig into the details on everything. And of course, while you're there, please subscribe to our newsletter where you get this information every week. You don't miss anything about the ancient wisdom and modern science. And of course, on your way out, please check out the store. We have an Ayurvedic store with all organic herbs and LifeSpa products, skincare products. It's an amazing store. Please check that out. And if you like what you see here at LifeSpa.com, please tell a friend. All right. Thanks for listening. Hey, listen, this is really a big deal about extinction events. It's really important. You know, one of my favorite studies that I've ever written about was a Stanford study where they went into New Mexico and they found in a museum poop from ancient humans that was about 1,000 years old. And they figured out a way to measure the DNA and figure out what kind of bugs that they had in their gut. And they found that the bugs that they had in their gut compared to the bugs we have in modern humans, they compared the two. They had hundreds and hundreds of different species that were in the guts of ancient humans in America that we simply don't have here today in modern humans. And it was such a dramatic difference, they said, they actually called it an extinction event. Our lack of microbial diversity is dramatic. You know, just looking at the food we eat around the world in the last 30 years, the diversity of different types of foods, ethnic foods that we eat on the planet has shrunk by 50%. So we're just eating more of this like industrialized food, way more processed food, which is sterile, right? All the food in the middle of the grocery store is pretty much sterile. There's not a living creature on the planet that doesn't have a symbiotic relationship between them and the bugs. In fact, the reason why we're here is because the bugs wanted something cooler than a crab maybe in the ocean, which is also has a coexistent relationship, a bidirectional, synergistic relationship with their bugs. So when you start eating things that are sterile, or you spray insecticides on the foods you eat, right? That kills all the bugs, right? Then when you eat them, you don't have the microbiome. And studies show that those microbes that are on the plants actually help make and manufacture the enzymes to help us eat things like wheat and dairy and nuts and seeds and grains and legumes and nightshades and goitrogens, all the stuff they're telling you not to eat, right? That's because we're not getting the bugs. We need to help make the enzymes. There's other reasons as well. But the bottom line is we have something that is an extinction event called microbial diversity decline. And we have to fix that. Now, years and years ago, when I graduated from school in 1984 and got into practice, we had probiotics way back then. And I realized that when I gave people digestive enzymes and probiotics, you know, they got better, but they needed to stay on those products. It wasn't like I was fixing them. I was creating a dependency. So I told all my suppliers, if you want to sell me a probiotic, show me science that shows that the probiotic sticks to and adheres to the intestinal lining and creates permanent resonance. And that's what we have at LifeSpa.com. We have things that are called colonizing probiotics versus transient probiotics. And I love this protocol. I use this for SIBO and all types of digestive problems. I'm still in practice. I still see patients. I see, you know, no one goes to the Ayurvedic guy first, right? They go everywhere else and they come here, and we use kind and gentle Ayurvedic therapies to heal, restore the environment of the intestinal tract, to bring their body back into balance, to bring their digestive back into balance. So we have a protocol that I wrote about in this, or I linked to in this article here, where we use a probiotic called Gut Revival. in combination with a combination of slippery elm, licorice, and marshmallow root. And that's called the slippery elm prebiotic. You boil this soluble fiber down, make a thick viscous tea, and you sip it throughout the day, coating your whole intestinal tract like a big Band-Aid, like the Pepto-Bismol commercial. It's soluble fiber, it's what the good bugs eat, and it heals and seals your intestinal tract. Then we give you the gut revival, which has probiotics that are antagonistic to the bad bugs, gets rid of the bad bugs, but it has probiotics that stick to the intestinal lining and increase the proliferation of permanent residents by 40 to 60%. I was so intrigued by this when we first got this 15 years ago. I did a study with my patients. About 20 of my patients were going to Europe for the summer, and we did a microbiome before they left, and half the group took the probiotic and half the group didn't. When they came back 6 weeks later, we took their microbiome again, and we noticed a 60% increased microbial diversity in the group that actually took the probiotic. So I'm very confident that what we're actually doing is restoring that diversity. That is in fact an extinction event, right? How important is that? So please check out that article. And sometimes just doing, like I'm actually doing right now, I'm doing a month of the slippery elm and the gut revival just to do a little healing reset. I don't do it every day of the year. I do it once or twice a year, or usually once a year even. Sometimes if I feel like I need a little more, I'll do a little bit more. But the idea is you don't need to be on probiotics for the rest of your life. You need to create an environment, eat healthy food, organic food that has bugs in it. And that's exactly why we use LifeSpa products. So our LifeSpa products are not sterile. Herbal extracts are sterile. So when you take a LifeSpa herb, we measure the bugs, the organic herbs, and the bugs in that product, in that plant. When we get it, we make a formula, we test the bugs again to make sure there's nothing bad in there. So when you're taking whole herbs, you're actually taking a probiotic. You're taking something that is both the chemistry of the plant with the microbiome that creates the intelligence. You and I wouldn't have immunity if we didn't have our gut lining and the microbiome. It's both. This hasn't really sunk in our culture yet. Everybody thinks, oh, give me the herbal extract that's 20 times, 100 times more potent. That's not where we need to be. Where we need to be is bringing ourselves back to nature as close to the actual plant out of the ground as we possibly can, because of the synergy between of the plant and the bugs. And now we know studies are showing that the bugs on certain plants have the same medicinal properties of the plant that they're attached to or attracted to, right? Pretty cool. Second immune event I want to talk about is the toxic world, air pollution. You know, the UN put out a report and said that the greatest health threat to the world right now is air pollution, with 7 million deaths per year. The World Health Organization just put out a report and said 99% of the people on the planet are breathing air that is above what they call the safe limit of air quality around the world, not just in like places that you like, you know, maybe like, you know, New Delhi or places that we know are a little bit more polluted. It's not the case. And just here at home, the EPA reported this year that 67 million tons of toxic chemicals are dumped in our atmosphere every single year. And that filters down into the food we eat, even if it's organic, the air we breathe, the water we drink, everything that goes into our system. We have to break it down and detoxify it. What I don't think people understand is that we can break down and get rid of toxins. We have a digestion/detox system. But most of us, it's been broken down because of processed food and insecticides and all of this. But we can restore and heal that. And that's why Ayurveda has cleanses that are not just detox, and pull all the toxins out. They're about healing and repairing function, digestive function, detox function, liver function, lymph function. Make sure your skin is functional, and then pull the impurities out of the deep tissues. That's what an Ayurvedic cleanse is about. Now, at LifeSpa, we have something called the Colorado Ayurvedic Cleanse, which has all been completely redone. If you know about our Colorado Cleanse in the past, we have brand new videos. You can get the support whenever you want. You can do the cleanse anytime you want and get the support, which is videos every morning, emails every morning. You get videos on yoga, breathing, exercises to kind of really amp up your cleanse, self-inquiry guides. It's really become a real program where you can do it while you're working if you need to, but you can also make this a full-on 2-week retreat if you have the time. So please look for in your email coming soon sales that we'll put on this spring about cleansing. This year we're going to try to get everybody to cleanse around the equinox, which is a really great time to cleanse, or the solstices. Those are also really great times to cleanse, but really important, anytime in the spring and the fall, you want to make sure you do some detox. The cleansed in Ayurveda, they use something called lipophilic mediated detox, right? Big, huge word, which means fats like fats. So we use ghee or olive oil, and we ingest that at fairly high quantities, and that has a chelating effect to pull the impurities out of the deep tissues. And that's what's really neat about it, is it's been shown in one study where people did the ghee cleanse for 7 days. There was a 48% reduction in the PCB stuck in their deep tissues and a 58% reduction of the insecticide stuck in their deep tissues compared to the group that didn't do the cleanse. So really neat, well scientifically documented, but you not only get the detox, you get the digestive repair, the intestinal skin repair, reboot your microbiome, and also lymph and liver cleansing as well. So really, 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 really important. That kind of stuff is really important. And there's plants, there's herbs you can take too. You know, in India, in the Taj Mahal, it was so polluted they planted 80,000 tulsi plants to clean the air. So certain plants will help detoxify them. And I wrote articles that I linked from the article here at LifeSpa.com. And there's herbs that we have science to show, well, if you take them, will help fight against the pollution. And those are turmeric and tulsi and amalaki. Those are really important. I also have an herb that I formulated called mucus destroyer, which is based around an Ayurvedic formula that is nourishing and supporting for the lung tissue, called mucus destroyer. It thins and gets rid of the irritants and the mucus that can build up from the pollutants and the irritants that are there. And it's really important because, you know, your lung tissue is like super thin. It's like rice paper, and it's so delicate, and it's so challenged. That's why they call air pollution the #1 health threat on the planet today, but nobody talks about it. But Ayurveda has a plan for that, and part of that is cleansing, and that has to do with and maybe taking herbs like tulsi, turmeric, amalaki. Herbs will help your body protect itself, or the mucus destroyer. If you have any type of vulnerability in your lung tissue, I would definitely think about taking that. The third extinction event that's out there is food shortages. You know, it's well understood that we have a problem feeding our planet. The most famous journal, prestigious journal in the world called The Lancet, did a major study. They took 30 of the top scientists, and they deliberated for 3 years, and they came up with what they call the planetary health diet. And they basically said, you know, we have 7.5 billion people on the planet now. They said that 820 million of them are not being fed adequately. So we're already not feeding the planet the way we should. And they're suggesting that by 2050, there's going to be 2.5 more billion people on the planet, and we have no plan to feed them the way we're doing it. So the biggest takeaway from that was less red meat, because that requires so much energy and water and resources that it's really making our food supply unable to feed the masses that are predicted to come. So the planetary health diet is really simple, and I wrote an article, and there's a link to the whole study and everything there. But it's basically reduce your red meat intake to 3.5 ounces per week. A lot of you don't want to eat red meat. A lot of you are vegetarian. I totally get that. But this is like for the masses, right? Everybody, if they got their red meat down to 3.5 ounces per week, and they said also 1 serving of fish, chicken, eggs, or dairy per day. So really reducing the animal protein content and have a predominantly plant-based diet, right? That's what they're suggesting. Now in Ayurveda, and the centenarian people around the planet, the blue zones where they live, you know, the longest, over 100, they have an average of 90% of their diet is plant-based and only 10% of their diet is animal protein. In Ayurveda, that's milk and, you know, kefir and cheese or paneer, you know, lassi or yogurt, things like that. Fermented dairy is really the main call for in Ayurveda, and that is where you get lots of extra nutrients to things like vitamin K2 and your B12 and your more minerals and things like that. You get that. So there's no issues with deficiencies where when you're vegan, you have to be careful of those deficiencies. They can come back to bite you. But the point is, my goal for everybody is a 90-10 diet, 90% plant-based, 10% animal protein. And then if you can be vegetarian and be a healthy vegetarian, then absolutely go for it. But always be aware of the fact that you have to really care for your B12, vitamin D, omega-3 fatty acids, iron, things like that are really important. I've written articles about things to watch out for if you're a vegan or full-on vegetarian. And the other thing is, when it talks about food shortage, is the waste that we have. 30% of the edible food in America is thrown in the trash, right? So if we would just stop throwing away good food, we would solve a lot of the hunger problems right there. The average American throws away 1 pound of food, good food, every single day into the trash, which is really important. And I'm a big fan of something called imperfect food. You can get it shipped to your house or to your office, and it has food that's really good. It's just the carrot isn't perfectly straight, it's a little bit bent, or the avocados aren't the perfect ones, they're a little bit maybe ugly or scarred, but they're still really, really good. And that's what we want to make sure, that we're not throwing away food just because it doesn't look pretty, right? And then the final one I'll talk about real quickly is fertility. This is a really big deal. It's a great book called Countdown. What they found was in this book was that between 1970 and 2015, the fertility across the world, across the globe, had shrunk by 50%. In America, the number was actually a little worse. It was over 50%. So we have a fertility issue, right? And they always used to think that the issue was mostly women and their concern. They used to think, well, 20 to 30% of it was for women, and 20 to 30% of it was men having, kind of sperm issues. And then the rest were kind of a mix between men and women. Now they're finding that 20 to 70% of it is actually men without, sperm that's healthy. And that's something that's really important. But we have endocrine disruptors from all the pollutants that are really causing real problems. And this was a red flag that came out in 1997. A study found that 27% of African American girls age 7 and 7% of white girls age 7 were having signs of puberty, pubic hair and, the signs of puberty, which is really, really early. For example, in Japan, there was a study in 1930, the average age for puberty in 1930 was 13.8 years. The average age in 1907 is 12.2. You can see that this is becoming a real problem. We're having, significant, early onset of puberty in adolescence, and we're having a lot of endocrine disruptors which are directly linked to infertility issues. So that takes us back to microbial diversity, takes us back to seasonal cleansing, Ayurvedic ideas of cleansing and changing with the seasons. Even Hippocrates said if you don't change your lifestyle diet with the seasons, then you simply can't be healthy. It was a prerequisite. And of course, 1,000 years before that, Ayurveda talked about cleansing and detoxifying with the seasons and how important that is. So please read the article associated with this video. It's really compelling and the evidence is really clear. And it's spring when this video comes out. Please join us with our Colorado Ayurveda cleanse. You can cleanse with me. I'm cleansing around the equinox this year, so you can join me and we'll do 3 live question and answer videos to make sure that I hold your hand directly, as well as the videos and the emails, and that you'll get every single morning to make sure you have a really good cleansing experience. So join me, check out the article at LifeSpa.com. Make sure you're signed up for our newsletter so you get the alerts and the ads for all the sales that come up. All our cleanse kits are going to be going on sale very soon, so don't miss that as well. All right, thanks for listening. I'm Dr. John Douillard. Do you like this video? Don't forget to subscribe and share.
This recording is brought to you by LifeSpa, where ancient Ayurvedic wisdom meets modern science. Get access to free health video newsletters by Dr. John at LifeSpa.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.